Developing overnight, President Trump signed an emergency coronavirus aid package into law that includes paid sick leave for some Americans in quarantine and free coronavirus testing. Now the White House is asking Congress for $1 trillion economic stimulus package, $1 trillion, which could include $500 billion in direct cash payment to some taxpayers. Joining us now, CNN chief business correspondent Christine Roman. She is the author of Smart is the New Rich, and Richard Quest, CNN business editor at large. I keep emphasizing the size of this relief package, which is enormous, Richard, but it's because this situation, I don't even think yet, as much as we talk about this, we fully grasp the economic situation we're in.
Absolutely not. We haven't even started to. Just think about your everyday life. Every restaurant and bar and club in New York, every gym in many parts of the country is closed. That is having ripple effects of which we are only just starting to see. One person loses their income, they can't pay their rent, and so on and so forth. And the reality is that this money, this $1 trillion, is a very good start, but it is only a start. As a percentage of GDP, it is way lower than what, say, the UK, Spain or Germany have done. The US will have to spend, or the view is, between $3 to $4 trillion before this is over. So whilst it's an excellent beginning, lawmakers really are going to have to get used to the idea and not put the checkbook away.
Those are staggering numbers, Richard, for anybody to get their arms around. And Christine, you know, there's a great article in CNN Business right now that says that $1 trillion deficit, which is what we had, right, and 0% interest rates is no way to go into a financial crisis.
Oh, look, we squandered a decade of gains, and there'll be accountability at some point for that. But, you know, we were spending money and with very low interest rates while the economy was strong, and that gives you very little cushion when you have something go wrong, no question. But no one's asking or talking about deficits right now. They need to spend the money. And Richard's absolutely right. This is a $20 trillion economy. $1 trillion is a start, but if you have this economy essentially stopped for, say, 2 or 3 months, it's going to need more than $1 trillion when you're going to reboot it at the back end of that.
So, Richard, one of the debates, the political debates over this, is where is the right place to put the money? Do we give it all in the form of checks to lower income taxpayers, or, and this is where it gets politically dicey, you know, bailouts to industries? You say?
Every time I talk about bailing out the airlines or the hospitality, my email box overflows with people using vulgarities about those at the top. This is not the time to go over the cliff on a matter of principle that you don't want to bail out some fat cats. That's the long and short of it. Get over it. You're going to have to bail out Boeing. You're going to have to bail out the airlines. There's simply no other way to do it. You may put strings on it. You may make them, you know, each one has to follow best practice on executive pay. But if you do not want a full-scale depression with the collapse of the airline industry and transportation in this country, then think about not bailing out the airlines. I promise you it will happen. Don't hang yourself on the principle of executive pay.
Christine, as you understand it, when will Americans begin to get checks?
They want to do it quickly. In the next couple of weeks, the Treasury Secretary said he wants to do it very, very quickly. And we've done this before. We did it in 2001. We did it in 2008. The difference this time is those checks don't necessarily get deployed right away in the economy where you need it the most. You're not going to go to a bar or a restaurant and spend that money, right? It's maybe going to help you with your rent, or it's going to help you stay solvent, but it might not have that the impact it has had in past times because the economy is shut down.
And can I just add to that, the evidence of the last time it was used, it was relatively successful, but it wasn't a rip-roaring success. Many people didn't spend it, they saved it, and it wasn't made available to certain immigrant communities and certain households. So it was by no means the golden bullet that is being portrayed.
I have to say, one of the things I am hearing most consistently from friends and people all over different sectors of this country is, how do we know that this business that goes under, how do we know that this sector that's so badly hurt is going to come back. It's this anxiety, Christine.
And that's what you see in the stock market. You know, we don't have a playbook for this. This is a crisis. It's a completely different kind of set of circumstances. You know, I heard one economist say there is light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, everyone knows that the economy can come back. We just don't know how long the tunnel is and what else is inside that tunnel, right? So this uncertainty is really just kind of a desperate situation at the moment. And you're seeing that in the stock market. The Dow is more than 30% off of its most recent peak. That is the speed of this crash has been stunning and taken everybody by surprise because we just don't have any clarity what this is going to look like and the unintended consequences of stopping an economy. We're stopping the American economy on purpose, the global economy on purpose. And then what is it going to look like when we restart it? We just don't know.
I have been so intrigued by that since you taught us that, Christine, last week. Richard, I mean, the whole concept of we're shutting it down for our own protection. This is voluntary. I mean, we're shutting down bars and restaurants and theaters and all of our daily life for our own protection. So doesn't it stand to reason that when we flip that switch again, it can come roaring back?
I like the use of the word can as opposed to will. Look, because we don't know. It's like planting bulbs in the garden. You plant lots of them, but you don't really know how many are going to come up. And when you switch the economy on again, you know, what about those restaurants that didn't survive, who laid off the workers, who now haven't got tuition money for their children? You know, we don't know how much. And with that in mind, it's just very difficult when literally the whole world is in exactly the same position. There's no engine of growth.
Guys, Christine, Richard, we always appreciate talking to you. Thank you so much for all the information this morning. Now to some more numbers for you. 149 Americans have died from coronavirus. Up next, we'll tell you about some of the victims.